So I played FC25 early. It's been on the wraps, and I'm going to talk about today, go over some impressions, my first thoughts, and also show you some stuff. I'm going to bring out my tactical board here. I'm going to show you how things work because there's a lot of big changes. First, I want to say, look, a massive thank you to EA for being part of the Creator Network and B, giving me the chance and opportunity to play this game early and make this video for you. By the time this video should be going out, there should be one video going alongside on their main channel, so do check that out as well. What I want to say is one final thing is this is not the final game. This is an early iteration. The game is not finalized, and there's probably going to be a lot of fine tuning and changes when the game comes out. So just do bear that in mind. Now let's go straight into it. So now the biggest thing that I love is tactics has been completely changed. Now this is what I've been waiting for years. You know how I've always tried to, for example, 4-2-3 with an extra centre back to try to make that unique system how they would do a 5 attack in real life. Well, now you can do it. There's two states. There's out of possession, there's in possession. Out of possession is like you can choose to, for example, play in a 4-3-3 in the defensive shape when your opponent has the ball. But then you can have a shape in possession. Now, this is when you can do whatever you want. You can play, if you want to, your left back and right backs, for example, as false backs. So you can put them as centre mids. They will literally sit alongside your centre mids. You can have, for example, a two, like you can have like a setup like this when you're attacking in a 4-2-3-1. If you want, you can have something like this, or you can have multiple players on this side. You can have false backs. You can have a poacher. You can have anything you could probably think of. You can do it, and it's done by this new system called roles, which I'll go over. Now, this is where things get a bit complicated, but I'll go over it. So, as I said, if you ever want to see Zinchenko, you want to play like a false back, because remember like last year in FC24, if you try to make a play on inverted, for example, the right back, they wouldn't go in inverted. Now, the position has completely changed. So, it's not an upgrade. Everything is being changed. They revamped the system. So, basically, there's two tactical views. There's out of possession. So normally when you go into a game, you would choose your formation. So you'll choose your base formations. I'm choosing here, for example, a 4-4-2. And then basically, instructions has now gone. There's tactics, they're still there, but the instructions are gone. So first of all, you got to choose your tactics. So they simplified tactics and they made it a bit easier. You choose your formation, as I mentioned. You choose your defensive approach. Do you want to choose deep? Do you want to be aggressive? Do you want to be balanced? But you can also fine tune. It's like there's a 0 to 1. It's like a little fine tuning thing where you can make it precise as you want, kind of similar to last year. And then you have a build up style. And that's changed as well. There's short passing, there's counter, and then there's balance. So that's what's changed. They've actually changed that completely. Then there's 5 tactics you can create, okay? So let's say, for example, we create one of these tactics, okay? So let's say here we choose a 4-2-4 as our base formation, okay? That's going to be your out of possession view. When you have possession of the ball, then you can fine tune where you want players to go. That's how you can make, for example, a right back or false back. You can make them attacking, full back. You can do whatever you want. You can make a centre back step forward and play very aggressive and play like a ball playing centre back. Now, how this is done is something called roles. Now, basically, there's 3 types. There's a role plus, and a role plus plus, okay? So let's say we choose a player like Mbappe, okay? Every player will have one role plus. So think of this like, I'm trying to think of the word for this, but a role plus plus means that player is world class at that ability. So if Mbappe is a poacher and he has the role plus plus of a poacher, he can play that role as a world class level. So he's going to be making those runs in behind. So they removed work rates from the game. So how well a player moves in AI movement per se will depend on their role. So you have role plus plus, which means they're world class. You have role plus, which means they're accomplished in the role. And then you have role, which just means they're normal at the role. They'll still do the job. They're still going to be good. They're just going to be even. The role plus plus means just going to mean they're even better. It's a bit difficult to explain without showing you, but just think about it that way. So you have role plus, and role. And the role plus plus version means that player's going to be amazing. And the role one would just mean the player will get the job done, but wouldn't be good as coming. They won't come if they're playing false 9. They won't come back in time. Maybe they won't come into the space as much as a role plus plus, etc., etc. So Instructions are gone. This has replaced instructions and work rates, okay? So every single player will have a role. So for example, you can choose a right back. Do you want to be a false back? Do you want to be a right back, attacking fullback? And I'll be making some more videos on this. Just make sure you subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for first and early updates on how this system all works. Because I found some unique stuff, by the way, before anyone has. But and the centre mid, for example, you can make a centre. You can make them into a centre back in possession. You could, for example, make them into a box to box. You could make them into a winger. You could make a centre mid into a half winger. So you could do all these things. So every single player will have a different role. So for example, a Cam might have the role of a playmaker, and the left wing will have like inside forward, winger, stuff like that. So every single position will have a different role. Within that role, you have different focuses, okay? So let's say, for example, I chose Mbappe, and let's say the role plus plus of a poacher. That means he's going to be amazing at that role. He's going to be making those runs behind. But I could also choose his focus. Let's say I choose, okay, Mbappe, I don't want you to be false, I don't want you to be a poacher. But then you can choose his focus. Do you want him to be an attacking poacher? Do you want him to be a balanced poacher? Maybe you want your other striker to be a false nine that sits a bit deeper. When you want to be a false nine that's more attacking, you can choose all these different things. Do you want a false back to be very attacking, or do you want that player to be a bit defensive? So within each role, there's different focuses. So think of it as their role is their mentality about how they move, and then their focus is basically like, okay, their kind of instruction. Okay, you know what? I want you to play that role of being a poacher, but I want you to be just a bit more balanced, come back on offense, stuff like that, if that makes sense. Hope that explains it. It's kind of hard to do it without showing you. But left wing backs and right wing back, centre back positions are gone, and that has been the new thing that's inside the game. So that is the main thing with tactics. So there's 5 tactics you can choose from. So let's say you choose a tactic, and there's a new thing this year. You can now save a code. Is it putting me out of business? Maybe, but no, this is a very good system because this is quite a complicated system. Think about tactics now. It's too long to go in and change everything. Actually, tactics right now is quite easy, but imagine with role plus, different focuses. It's going to take a long time for you to change tactics. So now there's a code. There's a universal code. So let's say, for example, I give you a tactics video, and I'll be like, this is the tactics. I'll explain it. This is the code. You can literally copy and paste the code and put it into your game, and it will copy the exact layout. So you can copy that style of play. There's universal. So if you're playing on Xbox and you give the code to someone playing on a PS5 or Switch, that code will work. It's a global code and works across all the consoles. So from a tactical point of view, quality of life, it will improve it. But don't worry, you still have to watch the videos and understand how the tactics work. It just copies the instructions per se and how it all works. Then there's some change to D-pad. So D-pad, there's some new changes. Now you can name each one of your tactics. As I mentioned, you have 5 tactics. And you can see that now before you press attacking, balance, ultra attacking, now you can see their name as if I call it nil 1, nil 2, defensive. You can actually see what the tactic is named. That way, if you've got different squads, easier for you to navigate. There's a tactical suggestion, so you could play like it would say if you're on a game, you can change to like a 3-4-1. It's like a 4-3-3 in possession, tiki taka, and like a little chalkboard, and it'll show you the players moving. And that's a really good way of, especially for new players inside the game, to quickly change to a new tactic or a new system that the game suggests. And they removed some stuff which I'm not too happy with, but they removed hug the sidelines, attacking 4 backs, which you can't do anymore, which I'm really upset about. But they've replaced it with a new feature. Now, do you remember like back in the day, if you want to make a formation more attacking, you can make it more attacking and more defensive on the fly. That's what they've done now. So now you have new attacking defensive mentalities on the fly. So let's say, for example, you're playing this 4-4-2, and let's say in possession, the centre mids join the attack and it ends up becoming a 2-4-4. You can basically activate the D-pad and make this team more attacking or more defensive without pausing the game. So whatever tactic you're playing, you can make that specific tactic more attacking or more defensive mid-game through the D-pads. That is a big option as well. And one thing finally done is they changed from corners. You can now choose who goes near post and who goes far post. So no longer is going to be Kante, your right CDM, being that near post player and always getting beat from a corner. You can choose a player to go near post or back post, and you choose that. So in the tactics menu, you're going to have 3 You're going to have 1 menu or 3 kind of slides, should I say, or three windows, should I say. You're going to have tactics. That will give your tactics, you know, what you want your defensive approach to be, what formation you want to play, and stuff like that. Then the second column, or the second section, would be roles, and that's when you see in possession, okay, where do you want your right, do you want your play, just play like inside forward, inside winger, shadow strike, and stuff like that. And then the final column is assignments. That's when you choose your captain, your free kick takers, and then that's when you also choose if you want your player to go near post or back post for the actual for the corners. So that is roles in a nutshell. It's a bit complicated to explain, but I don't want to spoil too much, but stay tuned because I want to show you some tactics. I've got some really good big things planned. I'm going to show you how each role works. I spent so much time studying. This game was actually played over the last 2 days. So it was actually the last 2-3 days, actually during the Wimbledon finals and of course the Euro final. So literally, I remember I was literally stayed inside and I was just studying this into the ground. Of course, watched the Euros. I'm a bit unfortunate, but watching how England were playing, it excites me because I could think, okay, how would I do this in FC? How would I make it better? And that's the thing. You could basically put your real life ideas and your ideas about football inside the game. Then we're going to move over to a new game mode, which is called Rush. Now, Rush is basically this new game mode, and it's a really good game mode. And basically, it's a 5v5. And I actually really like this game mode. When I first heard it, I thought, is this going to be a Volta? Is this going to be another Volta? And this is not. This game mode has in fact replaced Volta. Volta doesn't exist anymore. This is the game mode that Volta should be. So basically, 5v5, 6 minutes long. The ball starts from here, comes to the middle, and you're 5v5. You can play with your friends. And honestly, it's such a fun game mode. It's what Volta should have been, and it's seamless. The reason why I love it is it's quick. When you score a goal, there's no resets in play, waiting for celebrations, replays. There's nothing like that. It's quick and it's seamless. It's probably one of the best things that you can do. It just happens so quickly and makes the game so much more fun. It's available in Ultimate Team, clubs, pro clubs, kickoff, and career mode and manager mode. The main thing being Ultimate Team. So imagine playing with your friends, or maybe if they introduce something like Evolutions, you can do Evos there. And you can actually play with your friends 5v5. Instead of playing rivals or playing champs, it's like a chill game mode. Really good warm-up. Really, really good. Two other favorite features in this as well is that you have like penalties, like the MLS style penalty. So you get the ball on the halfway line, you have kind of like a 1v1 with the keeper. That is actually a really, really cool feature for penalties. And for example, there's no red cards, there's blue cards. So you have a yellow card like normal, but if you get a blue card, that player is then sent off on the sidelines for 1 minute. And that player's then out of play. And if your opponent scores, that time gets reduced. But it's a really good intuitive system. So you can't just foul everyone into the ground. And I think they've actually done a very good job here. You guys know I'm a gameplay guy. And I'll be honest, it's actually a really good fun game mode. I can imagine myself playing this in between champs, playing it for champs if I want to chill. It's actually a really good fun game mode. It's the game mode we wanted Volta to be, that it wasn't. That's what it is. It's 5v5, half the size of a pitch. Honestly, so much fun to play. Now, we're going over to gameplay now. So, a lot of things I want to say. So, I know this video is already 15 minutes. I don't want to go into a whole essay now because I can really probably do that. But I'll try to keep it as concise as possible. So, a lot of things in gameplay, a lot of things will change. Don't forget, this. I'm playing this in July, so imagine how early would have to prepare this for July. So imagine how early this release of this game is. Then there'll be a beta in August. Then the game will come out in typically September, October, when it normally comes out. That's a typical layout how it is year on year. So a lot of things will change. So I'll give you my thoughts and impressions. What's changed? What's new? But remember, if I tell you something like finishing, it could be changing when the game comes out. So the first thing, they've introduced professional fouls. I like this. It's basically a button. I think it's R1 plus X. You can basically pull someone down and you get yellow card. Professional fouls, like kind of like just tactical fouling someone, but now you've dedicated a button to it. Pretty fun. I like using it. A few quality of life things as well. They have a new L1 switching delay feature, so you can basically choose what kind of delay you want with L1 switching. Now, to be honest, I've not really tested this that much, but basically you can add delay or reduce delay with the L1 button. I've not tested that completely, but that's a very interesting feature for player switching for those that really struggle with it as well. Now, they've introduced 5 new playstyles for goalkeepers: footwork, rush out, deflector, cross claimer, far throw, and far reach. There's 5 new skill moves. I think there's a toe drag. There's a step over the ball, the big feint, heel nutmeg, and a drag turn. I've used them all. I can't say that there is. Well, just to briefly touch them, I'm not using them that much, to be completely candid with you, but nothing to find that it's been too over effective by now. These actually are very good and intuitive to do, and they're quite fun. They're not overpowered in any way. It introduced a new dynamic. There's also another skill move that was introduced earlier on this year that you might see in FC24 patch notes. That was also as well in now the main gameplay, the main nitty gritty. So AI movement. So AI movement is probably the biggest thing. I said they removed work rates, and now it just depends on really the player's role. So if the player is a role plus, let's say Haaland is an advanced attacker, they're going to be very proficient at that role. So that player's movement is going to be dependent on a role plus. So now you've got to be very careful about who you choose. Now, remember, I've always told you, it's all about the basics. You've got the L1, the R1 button pushing players forward. You can control that manually. That is why I've been, if you realize in the last couple of weeks, I've been explaining what tactics are, how they work, so you understand how they work and those players. So the manual aspect is still there and is very, very important. But the AI movement, I would say, has improved in the regions of the player roles, because a poacher will play different from a false 9, and there's new different roles and new movement that was inside the game that wasn't there before. So that is how AI movement is, okay? We play this in kickoff, by the way, so this is not Ultimate Team, so the gameplay felt slow. In fact, when I was playing it, I went straight to Ultimate Team in FC24, and it was different. So when I compared this, because I know there's going to be those other creators there as well, so they are going to make content on this. So just take what they say with a grain of salt as well, because just a reminder, we play this in kickoff. When I played kickoff in FC24 and I compared it, then I understood the real way. So people will say the gameplay feels slow, but it doesn't. It's because you're comparing it to the Ultimate Team in FC24. But the gameplay felt fine. It wasn't quick or anything like that. It wasn't noticeably quicker. I would say it's the same. If anything, I think it's better that way because of the new role system. And maybe you can argue the AI movement would be where the player is quicker, should I say. But no noticeable improvement there. So the gameplay, I would say, is fine. But it felt slow in the Ultimate Team because we were playing this in kickoff. They've changed passing. Thankfully, they've increased errors on no-look passing. So if you'd like a no-scope 180 pass, that error has been increased greatly. So you can't get away with what you would have done in previous years. That's a really, really good feature that I like. And they've also changed the ability of lob passes, of pinging the ball from left back to right back. That's been reduced as well. In terms of left stick dribbling, they've added some new animations. These new animations have made it doesn't affect the left stick dribbling, they're just animations, but there's certain things, like if you do 180 turns, it's a bit rigid in the last iterations. Well, this year it's more fluid. You can now turn quicker in 180 turns with left stick dribbling. I still think, because in some areas it did feel a tiny bit not the most fluid, should I say. I'm not going to say clunky, that's the incorrect terminology. Not as fluid as I would say. But again, I would say it's an early iteration. They're still working on things. And if I remember last year as well, these things changed up until the final day when the game came out. So, there was some changes to left stick dribbling, but it felt good. I made sure I use players like Bernardo Silva. We were using Man City, and then it was Real Madrid, and it was like 1 or 2 other teams that we could use. So there wasn't that much variety, but with the players that I did choose, they were moving quick, and then it was fluid. In terms of shooting and goalkeepers, because I put them together, my biggest issue was shooting. I can't really speak on it because I played this against AI. I did against legendary AI, even against the player performance increase. And I can't say goalkeepers were over effective. I could still score, but I could still miss some chances as well. I did feel in some regions that finishing was a bit more consistent than last year, is what I would say from certain angles. But with regards to goalkeepers coming out and being effective, I mean, I tried to have two controls, man, bringing one out. I can't really tell, so I can't give an opinion on that too much. When you are giving opinions on gameplay, you have to bear in mind that a lot of these things are going to change. So you have to be very mindful about that. And that is pretty much the whole thing. There's a few other minor things that I know it's only 20 minutes long. I don't want to go over this. Maybe I might make another video on it where I go over in a bit more detail. But also I don't want to spoil it for you. I want to get you too excited. I would say go check out the FC 25 patch notes. When this video has been uploaded, there's also going to be an actual live release trailer from EA, so watch that. That will have the gameplay on it as well. And coming up very, very soon, I'm actually going to have a tactical series where I'm actually going to show you how these players work. How does a false back work? You know, the different focuses, the defend variation, attack variation. I'm going to explain to you all the possibilities that you can make. So make sure you subscribe to see that, and that'll be coming out very, very soon. And of course, don't forget, you'll be seeing some of the first tutorials here on my channel as being part of the EA Creator Network. So mass thanks for EA for that as well. But that is the general consensus. I am actually very, very happy. The main thing is tactics. It's complete, because tactics will change how the game plays. If you think about it now, the systems are the same. It's the same formation, but now you can play against a unique formation that you've never seen before. I mean, I was playing against AI and I just put 6 strikers up. And when I'm defending, my defending is now going to change from up against 6 strikers. So there's a lot of tactical changes that will impact the gameplay that you won't see directly, that will indirectly impact gameplay. So I think it's going to be very interesting. Time can only tell. Again, I only played it for 2 days, but a massive thank you for EA. I'm really looking forward to it. This rush game mode is looking really promising. It looks like a fun, seamless game mode. I've been playing it so much, and I've been playing it in kickoff, and I've still been having fun testing things out. Even for practicing, if you want to get better at the game, I think that's a really good way to practice as well. And that is pretty much it. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. Mass thank you again for EA for watching this video. Don't forget, if you want to get better at FC24, you can actually come to my Patreon series, patreon.com/NeilGuides. I'm actually going to start making videos early this year, and with information I have, I can release some videos on that. That's patreon.com/NeilGuides. Link is down below in the description. If you don't get after 1 month, we'll refund you your money. And yeah, thank you very much again for watching. Thanks again for all your support as usual. I'm looking very forward to this year. And of course, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out, guys.